All right, welcome to Believe in Rams, presented by FanDuel. Erin Coscarelli back with you alongside my Super Bowl winning tackle, Rob Havenstein, back with us. Guys, we have so much to get to. Let's try to crank out some news and notes as the Rams are wrapping up training camp. First of all, how are you feeling, Rob? How is everything? I do a wellness check every time I see you.
Yep.
Still don't have the urge to come back yet?
No, I've been talking to Tyler Higbee, and I can honestly say that no, I do not have the urge to come back. So I'm just trying to give words of encouragement to my guy out there, year 11,
Yeah,
grinding it out one more, or hopefully 10 more times, but
yeah.
one more camp for sure, and then we'll see what's on the horizon.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're tight with Tyler Higbee.
Yeah, yeah. Tyler's one of my good buddies. Coleman Shelton, also one of my good buddies. So always gotta call up on them and wellness check them because I
Yeah.
know some of the demons that can come with training camp as it's day in and day out football, and there's always something going on where you just got to get it off your chest. So I'm now a very neutral third. Well, I guess not neutral. I'm still very biased, but a neutral third party and a willing ear for those
That's
guys.
right. A sage sounding board from the one Rob Havenstein, 11 years with one team.
Hmm.
Offensive line killed it last season, and they hope to continue that momentum as, like I mentioned, it seems like this is the year all in. Of course, we know where Super Bowl is being hosted right there in their backyard, SoFi Stadium. If you check out FanDuel Sportsbook, Aaron Donald projected already, hasn't even returned, but to be a comeback player of the year. So that's always kind of fun. And the storylines for LA, and I took a couple days off. Um, but they're so much fun to follow
Yeah.
because it's whether it's Sean McVay, the coach, and his innovative genius, or the 13 personnel, Tyler Higbee leading the way. Now we have Aaron Donald. We're talking about every single time we jump on. And I said to you guys, I'm like, look, pulse check. Should we talk about Aaron Donald yet again? And producer Lindsay was like, look, it's the biggest story in the NFL. We need to talk about it. I mean, we got to give the people what they want. But so Aaron Donald was working out, sort of, so to speak. Rumors had it there was some footage at Woodland Hills because the Rams are still at LMU for the next couple of days. I believe they go back to HQ, Woodland Hills, August 8th. But Aaron Donald started doing his own side thing, maybe just trying to feel out how he feels too before he announces a return. But then the Rams announced, or I don't know if the Rams announced, but they had put it on their official like tryout for Aaron Donald to work out with the Rams. Did you catch that? What do you
Oh
think?
yeah.
Sean McVay was interviewed by Jordan Rodriguez of The Athletic, and I think he had said something like, "This is the best tryout." And it's likely he could make the team.
Yeah, no, I think he's got a good shot. Our one of our guests that we had on, Ryan Wendell. Every time we'd watch something that Aaron would do, he'd be like, "You know what? I think that guy's got a chance to be good in this league." And so we always get a good chuckle out of that. But man, it seems like everything's pointing in the right direction. Sean kind of said if there's an arrow, the arrow's trending up, and
Yeah.
that to me that was the most telling thing there because for Sean to even bring up anything that there's been movement in the Aaron Donald situation for him to actually announce that to the media, whether it's, just a little bit or a lot, it's for him to bring up anything. It's like, man, this has got some real traction. And, obviously it was reported and,
Yeah.
by the Rams that he's, trying out and using team equipment and team facilities. And they had to legally record it as I'm sure they'd love to keep it as quiet as possible. It didn't just, oh, go ahead and slap it on that Aaron's coming back. But it seems like everything's pointing in the right direction, Aaron. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is.
Yeah.
I know we talk about it a lot, but like you said, it's exciting to talk about Myles Garrett or Garrett, Aaron Donald, Trent McDuffie, all those guys. I mean, come on, that's
I
just an
know.
unbelievable game to watch.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun because I think last season it was the offense that got a lot of,
Mm.
play and focus and attention, and for good reason. Obviously, Stafford doing what he did. And one of the questions I want to try to ask McVay when we see him today is, how much do you take stock in where you've come from? Because the game in the NFL, and Tom Brady would say he'd have like one day to celebrate a Super Bowl and then it's on to the next. And I'm like, oh, that
Yep.
seems like you're just cheating the fact that you've accomplished so much. But how much do you take stock in where you've come from? And you guys at home, this team last season, I want to hit home the notion of, because I always try to tie in. I'm obviously not a professional football player, but I do have a various degree of things that come with playing the concept of football, which is strategy, pressure, anxiety, competition, wanting to win, and to see where this team came from last season, where Stafford wasn't even at training camp, and I remember McVay getting pelted with questions every single day. When is Stafford coming back, to now? And, just to get some news and notes sort of out of the way, Myles Garrett has been out of action for the past 4 days, dealing with some back soreness. That shouldn't be a concern, right, Rob?
No,
No.
no, not at all. No, that's probably a conversation that goes, "Hey, Miles, this is our opening game. This is the date of it. Can we have you back for that?" "Yes, I'll be ready for that." "Cool, great. A couple days off. Make sure everything's good and going. Just make sure you don't need to blow anything up." The proof's in the pudding for Miles's tape. He's obviously very good. They traded, a young superstar in the making, Jared Verse, for him. So obviously they felt pretty good about
Yeah.
Miles Garrett. So
Yeah.
no, not worried about that at all.
Yeah. I mean, I think also, guys at home, you have to remember it's the same thing too with Stafford. Stafford's not at camp every single day. He's not slinging it every single day. He's not going to be in a single preseason. It's sort of management control. Were you under the same sort of structure for you when you were entering year 9, 10, 11?
Yeah, mine was more kind of year 10-ish. And it was, I want to say you took the jog through days off. So you're doing most of the practice. It was really last year where it was, limited reps and here and there. And that was just me going into year 11. Matthew's going into year 18. I mean, for him to be expected to be out there every day slinging it,
Yeah.
there is a cap to the body. Matthew has risen up probably above and beyond his, but that arm has seen a lot of wear and tear. So
Yeah.
Sean always talks about it. You're not playing a game tomorrow. It's coming up, and eventually that day will come. But we're in training camp right now.
Yeah.
We're preparing ourselves for the season. Matthew doesn't have to prove who he is. All he's got to do is show that little MVP trophy right there and be like, "Yeah, I'm pretty good at this. I know what I'm doing." So for him
Been
showing off, yep,
Yeah, yeah. Been there, done that, guys. I'm good.
yep,
But yeah, I mean, look, isn't the saying the best ability is
availability.
availability? See,
Yep.
we're good. We're good. Yeah, the best ability is availability. And the Rams last season, knock on wood, did not have to suffer through a ton of major issues like I believe the team went through in 2022, which just causes massive, yeah, massive duress. All right, so that's good. Rob Havenstein says Myles Garrett, the 4 day sort of relax, get a little R&R, the back soreness, just sort of a management thing, not something to be majorly concerned, because yeah, training camp, and he's been doing it for a few years. It's strenuous. So before we get back into Aaron Donald, because we're really, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, we're not done talking about Aaron Donald and
Never.
what other people are saying about him. But as the Rams now, it's sort of entering phase 3. They've got a couple more days left before they wrap things up at LMU. What is this last stretch of training camp kind of like for the Rams?
Yeah, so it's all kind of the same. Sean breaks it down into 4-day blocks. And it's practice, practice, jog through practice, then an off day. And so it's going to be kind of a similar feel of a padded camp practice where he's going to expect guys to be going, guys to be preparing, pushing themselves, learning about themselves, making mistakes, doing all that good stuff that comes with putting the pads on. Excuse me. I think the biggest thing is when they break training camp. Break training camp is when they go back to Woodland Hills. He's going to expect the same thing. They're not done with training camp because they're not practicing at LMU where they're staying at the dorms. The guys might be staying at home or will be staying at home or in a hotel or somewhere if they don't have a place yet. But it's still training camp. So it's training camp all the way up until you really start week 1 preparation as would be a normal week. So a week before week one, you'll sprinkle in some game plan stuff, but it's still mainly still training camp, and that's something Sean has pushed his whole time that he's been there.
Yeah, and I think that's it was funny because Puka Nacua was interviewed yesterday. I get the transcripts, so I kind of like deep dive and research all of them. And he's been getting massively complimented regarding his shape, his physicality, and obviously he's such a physical type receiver.
Mhm.
You want to see that this guy is entering his contract year, and one of the questions I thought was a very good question is which is always sort of comparing other teams and their training camp strategy and structure and how they do things. And I think it was Trent McDuffie that was asked. Uh, Puka was asked about McDuffie, and that what is the difference between now sort of that he's been through couple weeks of Rams training camp compared to Super Bowl winning Chiefs training camp? And he said there would be 4 days in a row, and that it would be pretty strenuous. And Nakua and Puka said it's not like that really. It's
Right.
strenuous, but the
Mhm.
management of players, it's not even necessarily just physical, but it's like energetic output is
Yep.
and he name dropped Reggie Scott in that, who is obviously the
Mhm.
Rams sports medicine director and like the chief of all things health and wellness.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. I've heard a lot of stories coming from different camps and things like that throughout my years playing, and so Sean's philosophy, because it is practice, practice, and that jog through day is pretty down. You're on your feet a lot, but you're not hitting and banging like that. And then, a good day after that, like that whole philosophy is that whenever we are on the field, it's he wants you to go and it's go. And you
Mm,
really only have two back to back days where you might have to really kind of grind and fight through. And then you hit that fourth day and you're like, I got an off day tomorrow, So it kind of keeps the mind fresh too, and not the
yes.
what can be monotony of training camp and some other places and some other stories that I've heard. I mean, luckily I had two training camps before Sean came in, and then I had Sean the rest of the time. So I was very fortunate in that fact. But I heard a lot of horror stories about training camp of in some other places where it is just a physical and mental grind, and then maybe you have a sloppy practice because guys are just bodies are in the tank, and it's Sean's
Mm,
idea is like I want guys fresh and energetic and excited to come
yeah.
out,
Yeah.
ready to get better and really attack success.
And that's what Puka had said. Puka had
Mhm.
said, that's when sort of injuries can come up or pop up. And, yeah, like you mentioned, I think being a good employer of any career
Mhm.
or leader is managing the mental output and motivation and not, I remember when I was covering the Niners and Jim Harbaugh at the time, he was the coach. And the players said that he was very physically, the practices and the training camps were very physically enduring. And to me, the sentiment was it was not as enjoyable. So I think it's keeping guys fresh mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and of course, obviously, physically. And speaking of jobs and employers, it's funny how little things stick with you, Rob. I remember one time a rideshare driver didn't just drop me off, they carried my luggage to my front door. Of course, they didn't have to, but that extra effort leaves such a lasting impression. And it's the same thing with hiring. So the people that go the extra step, they're often the ones you remember most. And that's why we like ZipRecruiter. Candidates can actually tell you in their own words why they're interested in your job, helping them stand out. Plus, ZipRecruiter's new feature puts the most interested qualified candidates at the very top so you can meet the right people even faster. Try ZipRecruiter and meet great candidates who will get the extra step from your job and for your job. And 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the very first day. Try it for free today at ziprecruiter.com/audio. That's ziprecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, meet your match. All right, speaking of matches, let's get back to Aaron Donald because I thought that this was really
Mhm.
interesting. The biggest story in the NFL, guys. I know we got to talk about Aaron Donald. Is he coming back? Look, he had a tryout yesterday. It was all over the news. It would not be. It would not be. We would not be good journalists if we didn't talk about it.
Mm-mm.
But the thing I was curious to get your take on this, Rob. Les Snead said that he sees that there is a benefit to Aaron Donald being out for 2 years. And for me, I wonder, is that true? I mean, Les Snead is such an intellectually, like, outside the box thinker. What did he mean by that?
Yeah, because this was the hardest thing when Aaron retired for me when it first got popped up that Aaron was coming back, was in his interviews and the what he said specifically about why he wanted to retire. He said he felt like he was full, that he was accomplished. He didn't have the passion to play football anymore. And if that's not there, I mean, that's a hard thing to bring back. And so that 2 years off of maybe missing it in chunks here, and then you go hang out with your family and you're doing good, and then it kind of starts creeping up a little bit, and then all of a sudden the Rams trade for a Myles Garrett, and you really start getting to think of like, man, I still could do this, I still can, I'm still Aaron Donald, and so that could potentially kind of relight that fire. I'm not trying to speak for Aaron by any means, but just trying to put myself in his shoes about how he went out and how the words he used about that, the passion not being there, because if you're not passionate about playing in the NFL, you're not going to last a long time. And so when he said he was full, I thought that was going to be a really hard thing to come back. So when Les comes back and says it's a good thing, I think he's absolutely right, because it does give you that kind of clairvoyance of
Mm,
I've been out for a while. Do I still want to? Can I still do it? Do I still have that fire somewhere lit in me, where really
wow.
only taking a good step away could potentially, do a little soul searching and figure out whether that thing's there or not.
Wow. Okay, wait, we've got to break that down because that
Mhm,
is so fascinating. Because I think if you guys think about Aaron Donald, right? He retired with so much still left in the tank, but he
mhm.
he wanted to pursue things perhaps outside the game. And during last year's presser, when the Rams were hosting a celebration game, they were giving out a bobblehead. He really That's why I thought, and when producer Lindsay was saying he might be coming back, I'm like, no shot. It's not
Yeah.
happening. He's good. His wife, he's happy. It's not happening. It doesn't matter who's coming back. So when these rumor mills started to really pick up, I was like, I felt exactly the same way because I was at his presser last season. I digested what he said and really believe that when a player hangs it up, especially at the top, like Aaron
Mhm.
Donald. And the other thing to think about too is very rarely are players hanging it up when they still have another year, 2 years, 3 years at an Aaron Donald type level. But do you almost think when you step away from the game, like what Les Snead was referring for 2 years, it almost gives you a wiser, fuller cup of appreciation when you play, when you see, when you understand the game of the NFL?
Yeah, no, I think it 100% can, because you do have, I mean, it's 2 years of, watching other guys play on Sunday, and that analytical side of watching football really doesn't leave you. So when I watch football nowadays, I'm staring at the right tackle. I might switch over to the left tackle every now and again, but I'm staring at the right tackle because that's what I did for 11 plus years. And so when Aaron's out there watching film, and and not even watching film, just enjoying a game, maybe having a ready water or something like that, just enjoying some protein and some football, and kind of just doing all things Aaron Donald. And I'm sure he can look at that and be like, "Oh man, that's not, it's not good there. He should have done this. He could have done that." And then he comes in, he's like, "Oh, maybe if, when he started thinking about it, oh, because I can still do that. I still know what to do. I still know how to do it at an Aaron Donald level." So absolutely, I think 100% that can really kind of give you that overall perspective of the NFL, because I mean, you got to think, for his Aaron made what, 9 Pro Bowls in 9 seasons, or 9 All Pros, probably both. It's, probably crazy. And so,
That's right, huh? That's
oh yeah.
he made a Pro Bowl every season, huh?
Hmm. Yep. But like, because of that, and
That's
because he was the star defensive lineman on every team he's ever been on, he gets treated as such. And I
Mhm.
remember sometimes where it's like, I mean, he wouldn't even want to watch the game film whether we won or lost. He's like, I just got double teamed all game. It's like, and he's still out there making his plays, which is incredible. But he's just everyone is game planning for Aaron. I saw it on Jason Kelsey was talking about like some of your
Yes.
hardest matchups, and he's like, oh, Aaron, obviously, but like even the what he Jason said specifically was our whole game plan was to not let 99 wreck the game. That was it. If someone else is going to wreck the game, that was going to happen. If they were going to win or lose, it wasn't going to be because of Aaron. And that's the level of attention Aaron brought. And so when you bring in Myles Garrett, it really brings up the question of who do you try to
Oh,
stop? So is Aaron going to be getting a lot more one-on-ones? Is he going to be able to play the game like somebody else who's not as proven or as good as him because their focus is on Miles? And to me, that's one of the biggest things too, because he gets to come back and be like, man, I get to do something I've never done in the NFL. Go against somebody truly one-on-one. Whether that happens or not, I'm not sure because he's still Aaron Donald. It'll be interesting to see what or how teams, present game plans to them. Or shoot, they might even try to double team both of them. But it's hard to do that every single play. So for me, that would be an exciting thing if I was Aaron because it's like, man, I'm going to see a lot more one on ones, a lot more opportunities to go make plays. I'm a couple years older, but I've never gotten a real one on one before. At least they're not trying to make it happen. Obviously, it still happens during the game, but and if he did, he was probably going to win anyway. So it's like, man, I could win. I won 75% of the time last time. Now I'm going to win 95. It's or whatever the number may be. It to me, that's a huge part of that, Aaron.
wow. Okay, so we kind of just unlocked, not that probably other smart high level people didn't already know this, but the tip was what Jason Kelsey said during that podcast, which was
Mhm.
Aaron Donald, and I think you even mentioned it too, would get mad at
Oh, yeah.
him getting double the double coverage, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
100%. Someone else could get a sack and two guys are up there and he's, trying to talk smack or I'm just I'm making this up hypothetically, but, where it's like, talking about it's like, dude, go help him. He's like, nope, we're right here.
Yeah.
One person on this nine, one person on that nine. That's that's what we got.
That's hysterical. So the reason Donald was just kind of like exhausted was because of the focus as one of the greatest of all times should.
Mhm.
And now Miles Garrett and also the rumors of last season him flirting around with the Micah Parsons potentially coming to LA. That same rumor was so for Aaron, it's an opportunity to get something he's never had before, which is a potential one-on-one
Mhm.
with Miles Garrett now in the fold, hence the reason he is open to coming back. Wow. Okay. Well,
I would think so.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair because based on what Jason it's a great episode. Go listen to Jason Kelsey
Mhm.
and Travis's episode. I can't remember which one it was, but they are talking about Jason's talking about how literally Aaron Donald would get upset with him during the game. And Jason's like, do you realize who you are? You're Aaron
Right.
Donald. Of course
Mhm.
we're gonna put two men on you. We have
Yep.
to in order to stop you. Um,
Sometimes 3.
Sometimes 3, and so Aaron Donald coming back has everything to do with now he might have more one-on-ones, and therefore, I mean, gosh, could you imagine what that just does for opposing offenses?
Well, like I said before, I've seen it in training camp because we wouldn't treat Aaron like he was Aaron in training camp. Just play rules ball, and so he'd get a lot of one on ones, and he would win a lot of the time. So much so that our guards started to get a little self confident issues. And shoot, I'm just glad I played tackle because my self confidence would be shot if I had to try and block Aaron all training camp.
Wow.
So I can see what that does to a guy's mental side of like you're going against Aaron one on one every single time. You might have a slide here and there, just the way it falls, but really, it's your job versus him, and that's a tough ask for anyone, any offensive lineman in the league. I mean, Aaron's just that good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, I know we've gotta wrap up. Aaron Donald, across the NFL wire official workout with the Rams. I'm
Mhm.
going to be at camp today. So
Exciting.
I'll be texting you guys, letting you know sights and sounds, what we see, what we hear. But from top to bottom, this whole dynamic of the Rams and their defensive front has completely overshadowed Trent McDuffie, Jaylen Watson, which was also part of the conversation, I believe, yesterday during some of the Rams interviews. I think Puka talked about just iron sharpens iron has
Mhm.
consistently been brought up at these pressers because now you have Devante going against Trent McDuffie, Puka Nacua, with all these guys just against each other. Uh, it's going to be a very fun season to watch.
No, it is because, I mean, you're getting game reps in practice, and you're getting game reps versus, NFL all-stars, like, and you're doing that day in and day out, and what's best about that is, so you go up and say it's Devante versus McDuffie, and I saw, one where Devante kinda had it in his hands, and it was just about to haul it in, and boom, Trent comes from behind, ball's probably incomplete or a fumble or whatever it is. It's like, Devontae probably knows because he's just that type of guy. But if you're a young player, you have the opportunity to talk to a Trent McDuffie, to a Jaylen Watson, to be like, "What are you seeing here? Like, why? How'd you get your hands in there so perfectly?" It's like, well, for one, you're getting your hands up to her, or just something. You're tipping something, or like you can ask the defense what they see. How do I hide this a little better? How do I get better at my job? Because you can, I mean, they're on your team, obviously they're trying to win the rep, but it's like the Rams want to win games, and so it's one side helping each other, and you got a guy like a Devante Adams, like a Puka Nacua, playing against a Trent McDuffie. Like the collaboration there is so exciting because they can talk and be like talk really high level details of football and be like, how do I 1% get this better and a 1% better Puka Nacua, Devante Adams? Man, that's going to be a fun game to watch.
All right. Well, I mean, this is so fun because we have to leave the audience wanting more at this
That's
point.
right.
Gotta go, gotta wrap things up. We have another couple of days to finalize the last bit of Rams training camp stretch for 2026 before they head to Woodland Hills. I believe it's August 8th. Rob Havenstein, my Super Bowl winning tackle. We love getting your perspective. Thank you for making the time. Love the girly jersey. How cool is his backdrop? I hope you're getting settled over there at the new casa. But let's do this again. Maybe, a few days, couple days. We'll get Rob back on.
Perfect.
Appreciate it. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.